Hello everyone. Today we are back to make another card. I know my little table here is getting a little bit of a hot mess, but isn't that what happens when we craft? So you've got your 5x7 card base. Excuse me. You've got your 5x7 gray. You've got a full white cutout. Then you have a half white cutout. You have your sentiment piece. You've got some flowers and a leaf there. And you've got this piece. All right, now I haven't made this card in a while, so I'm gonna look at the picture to see. And there we go. All right, so we're gonna do the flowers last. Let's start with the easy basics, right? We are going to take your gray piece. I'm using the Barely Arts Dries Clear glue. Now, you have a black side and a gray side. Listen, it's your card. If you wanna use the black side, have at it, feel free. I'm gonna use the gray side because I happen to like that better. So this Barely Arts glue is similar to the art glitter glue, the Dries Clear, which is what I usually use. However, because we were having trouble getting it, because it was winter here, you know, they don't ship it to cold places because the glue has properties that if it gets cold or it freezes, the glue, sorry, I'm just moving this, the glue freezes and it's useless. So that doesn't happen with the Barely Arts glue. It doesn't have the same water properties. You don't need a whole lot of this. When you get your full white sheet, you'll see that there's a side that looks better than the other. That's gonna be your top. So obviously put your glue on the not so great side. You don't have to glue everything. You can glue just the middle if you feel the need. Go ahead and put a little bit of glue in the corners. Remember, if it seeps out, it's fine, it'll dry clear. So center that on your card. Now this is a top fold card. You can kind of change it if you want, but then you'd have to change out the sentiment because the sentiment is made for like a portrait or horizontal base kind of card. All right, so if you see there, I have some glue seeping out of my corners. I'm just gonna kind of rub that off with my fingers, and again, it will dry clear. So again, at this point, you wanna make sure that it's top folding, right? That you've got the top facing away from you. And now we're going to start to build the card. Now, the first thing that you wanna do is you wanna pop this down. Now, just let me see if I did it that way. Yep, I did it that way. Okay, you don't wanna pop this down. Not with Pop Dots. Glue it right on down. Okay, just a little bit of glue. It fits right in the center of the die, so do your best centering it. Excuse me. I've been making videos all day. All right, easy so far, right? All right, so now you're gonna take your half piece. We want this corner and this corner. We want both of these corners. So what you wanna do is you just kind of wanna maybe cut this off. We're going to take this piece and we're going to cut this. Can you see that? No, because I have that there. We're going to cut this so that it's here. So we're not going to use the rest of this white. We're just going to, and we're going to do it on the other side, but it can't be so far in that it covers up your sentiment. So if you do it to about where, can you see that? Is it easier if I put it down? I'm not real good with a camera like this, so I hope you can see this better and it's not all like fuzzy. So if you see these shapes here where the curve is, if you cut it right there, you cut through like where that opening is, that chat is right there by my fingernail, and you cut there, you should be okay. So I am gonna cut mine just like that. And I'm going to cut my other one same way. Now I still may have to trim, but that's okay. I hope that that made sense too. Okay, so I'm going to glue these to the inside. But again, I'm gonna wanna put it over my card, right? Put the gray over, because it's a cutout, so it should fit exactly over that white piece with the sentiment. You're not gluing anything yet. You just wanna make sure you know where that sentiment is and how much leeway you have for gluing. So on mine, now of course you want to try to get those points even. That'll never happen for me. Okay, so I know I have just a little bit over here that overlaps, but I have a lot more there. So I'm going to put my glue on the back. I'm going to put this so that half of that little circle in the middle, is it? Well, not really a circle, I don't know what it looks like, is there. And then that's what I'm gonna do with this. I'm sorry, the table keeps moving. That's what I'm going to do on the same side. So if you see here where I have, I hope this is working. So where this little piece is, this little opening is, I'm gonna make the opening here, that's this here. I'm gonna make it the same over there. And with any luck, that's gonna work out for me. And the reason that we're doing this first is, one, because, you know, trial and error. Two, you may have to snip a little more of the white. And three, we're gonna pop this up, we're gonna raise it. So this is where foam lines, like, oh, see, this didn't stay. The foam lines come in. I'm gonna use just a little more glue. The paper that we're using is has a little bit of a smoother surface, like it's a little bit slick and coated. So it is gonna take just a little bit extra to dry there, and my hands were a little bit sticky. Now I don't have my points exactly the way I want them, but you know, I have to give up some of my OCD tendencies sometimes and just let it go. And again, if the recipient of the card has decided to say, ooh, it's a little bit crooked, you know what happens? They just get cut off the list. They don't get it anymore. Maybe people are gonna be that critical of your cards. You don't send them cards, right? Okay, so I'm not gonna put this on here because the glue's kind of still wet. I see that my points are not even, but it's all right. I'm gonna take some line tape like this. Again, because this is going to be easier for me to use than pop dots or the foam circles like these, because I mean, honestly, I'm not cutting all of those and then getting them to the right shape, then you're still gonna see them anyway. I'm just gonna use the right thing. And for me, the right thing is tape that fits. Now, I'm going to do it over the green. Remember, I don't want it to overlap. So I have a thin, I wanna say this is probably a 1/4 inch that I'm using here. Now again, if you wanna cut your foam dots, you go right ahead and cut your foam dots. I just don't want to. All right, so we're gonna take this off. And if you want, I didn't do it, but I probably should, especially on this coated paper. You can burnish your foam tape before, obviously, you take the paper off it. And as you see, my nails are not done. They're constantly broken. I don't bother getting them done, and I don't bother with them, so I'm okay with this tape. So now I'm going to try to get this over the white piece as close as I can. All right, and now that's popped up. Probably looks a little more popped up in person than it does on camera. So then the last thing for us to do really is our flowers. If you've never flower shaped before, oh, so easy, so easy. Heartfelt Creations has tons of videos on this, so if you feel like you need a refresher after this, you go right ahead and go to one of their sites or one of their videos and take a look. I don't have the purple. I actually had used to color the, I think it's called Lulu Lavender. It's a Memento ink, but I don't have that here and available. I do have a Spun Sugar Distress Oxide, and while oxides are a little more opaque than I would like for this, that's what we have, so that's what we're using. So I like a blending brush more than I like the other tools, so I am just going to rub this over. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect because it's supposed to be a flower, and nothing in nature is perfect. I do tend to put it darker in the center. And I'm gonna do that with all of these. Now, I would do this on, of course, some kind of protective thing for yourself, a piece of scrap paper. I have the tablecloth that I'm just gonna toss when I'm done, so it's all right that it's on here. I can also, because it's a distress oxide, I can also just spritz this down with water and wipe it clean and start again with another color. Always one of the beauties of oxides. Now this spun sugar, they do actually have some. I think this is looking nice with the purple. They do actually have some of these available in the store. So if you don't have one and need one, contact Christina and she can get one right out to you. I'm then going to use Memento bamboo leaves. This is one of my go-tos. I use it a lot. I also, in the distress oxides, I use mowed lawn a lot. And for this, because it's, you know, smaller and I know I'm gonna end up ripping it, I'm just gonna go like that on it. Because again, it's a more masculine looking card. It's okay if this is darker. And I do like the pink with the gray. I'm an 80s girl, so you know, I like pink and gray. All right, so then we're gonna flower shape. Flower shaping is so easy. If you've never done it before, take your inked side, put them face down. Now, you do need a shaping mat and you need a set of stylus, flower shaping stylus tools. Again, if you don't have them, contact Christina and she can get them right out to you. You need a water bottle or a mister, anything like that will do. You're going to open it up. You're going to hold it about a foot, not too much closer, over your flower. You're gonna wanna try to get it in the middle and you're gonna spritz once. That's it, no more than that. You don't need any more than that. It'll make it too wet and your flowers will actually rip. You're not holding the flower, you can hold the mat. You cannot hold the flower from the tip to the middle with the larger end of your stylus, whichever one you're using. Just push and pull. Push down, pull to the center. Push down, pull to the center. Sometimes you'll get resistance, that's okay. Push down, pull to the center. Now you don't wanna do it so hard that it's gonna rip. Okay, so you see how that's cupping like that? Turn it over, see how it's popped up? I usually just press real hard. Because again, it's gonna be on a card, so it's gonna get smushed in the mail anyway. So same thing. Now with these, you'll wanna work not too fast, but a little bit fast, because you don't want the water to dry on you and to have to wet them again. These were actually done on Heartfelt Creations flower shaping paper, which is really, if you're gonna do flower shaping, it is the best paper to use. I've used them all and I've used this since they've started selling it, and it really is the best out there. It just holds the water nice, it holds the color nice, the colors don't run, it shapes the flowers really well. All right, so we've done that with all of them. I'm going to take, for this, my two biggest ones, because I have, right, a large, a medium, and two small. I'm gonna take my large and my medium, and I'm going to glue them together. Now, if you're gonna do this on your mat, be really careful, because once you get glue on the mat, it doesn't come out, the mat gets hard, it doesn't work the same again. I'm gonna do it because that's how I do it, and it's my mat, so I can do what I want. But I'm gonna recommend that, and you see how I have it cut in half because I like to double them up. But if you buy your mat and you cut it in half, then maybe use one for gluing. When you put the little, you don't need a whole lot of glue in the middle, just a little bit. You're gonna place the other one on top, but you're gonna offset the petals so that, you know, they're not right on top of each other in the same way, so that it looks a little layered. You're gonna take the smaller end of your stylus, whatever one you're using, and you're just gonna press down. These other two are gonna be single flowers. Now, as I look at the sample of the card, what I did was I took these leaves and I cut them apart, because you're allowed to do that. You know, you don't have to use something the way it comes. So I'm gonna cut here. I'm gonna do this over the black so you see. I'm gonna cut here. I'm trying to move this so you can see it better, I hope so. Okay, so I have this. And then these, I'm gonna cut this little straggler off, and then I'm just gonna kind of cut down the middle. I'm gonna turn them over, and I'm gonna shape those two. Same thing, and it would have been harder to cut after I shaped. About a foot up, one spritz. This time with the leaves, I'm just gonna kind of trace around as best as I can. And if it's too hard to do, like it's not giving, then just press. Just press. Just press. The bigger end of the stylus, right? Oh, and that one's sticking. Flip it on over. You want to press down at the edge of the leaf so that it has something to stick to. Let's go back to our card. Now you have pearls and everything else in your kit, and I would do the pearls at this point. If you don't have something like this, like a gem picker-upper or a sticky tool or something, these white pencils are fantastic for it. You just sharpen them, pick them up. They work with rhinestones and pearls. They're fantastic. I use them all the time. It makes doing the pearls a lot easier. So if you don't have one, again, I think Christina has these in the store. You can ask her about that as well if you don't already have one. Most people who make cards usually do though, but again, it's a time saver and saves all kinds of frustration. So I'm gonna take my glue, because even though my flowers aren't dry, the glue is dry enough where you see it's not, these are my double flowers, not coming off. So I'm gonna put some glue on the bottom. Now I tend to use more glue at the bottom of the flower because I want it to stay put, which means it's going to take longer to dry. I'm gonna put it in the corner here because I like them in the corner. I'm gonna take the small end of my stylus because it's not touching glue, so it's okay. Once you get glue on the stylus, it's not gonna work really for your flower. So you wanna make sure if you have it near glue that you've cleaned it right away. I'm just gonna hold it. All right. And I like putting the flowers in clusters next to each other, so I'm gonna put this one here. But it's your card, you put them wherever you like. You like a different corner, you wanna spread them out, you wanna put them here instead of down here. Do your thing, there's no wrong way. I would not though do the pearls and the flowers until they were on my card, because how are you gonna press them down like this to keep them down if the flowers are in them? But everywhere else, it's easier. It becomes a lot harder to place pearls once the flowers are on the card, because like if you need it over here or over here, you're gonna see it if it's not there, but it's too hard to get it in there. I obsess over those things, but if you don't, good for you, and then don't worry about it. Now I'm gonna place my leaves. Now what I usually do is before I put the glue in, I kind of look to see where I want my leaves. And remember, you don't want them to overlap the card, you know, the outside of the card, because you want it to fit in the envelope. So I think I kind of like where my leaves are. So I'm gonna put a little at that curved base there that we pushed down. And I'm just gonna stick it in there until you can't really see the center. And because again, it's liquid glue, I can move it around, just like you see the flowers are moving a little bit. I can move it around until I like where it is. If I was using a dry adhesive, I didn't have that option. All right, so a little bit of glue. I'm gonna stick that underneath. Now, if I feel like this flower is too loose, that's okay. I'm gonna stick this here. I'm gonna see how I had to stick that up to make sure it's there with the card. And then I'm just gonna hold it down a little bit. Now, yes, your flowers are gonna lose a little bit of their dimension when you put them in the mail, but not so much that they're gonna look like flat flowers you didn't do anything to. And just because there are 3 now, you know, there's always that rule of 3s, but just because there's 3 doesn't mean you have to use 3. If you don't like 3, then don't. You like it without the leaves? Don't use them, save them for something else. So at this point, we will pretend that everything is dry. You would put your pearls, maybe a wink of Stella pen or some of this Barely Arts glue with a little sponge and then some glitter on top, and then you wait for it to dry and you'd be all set. Alrighty, so there's our card. I hope that you like it. Thanks for taking the class, and I hope that we see you at a class again soon.